Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement. How are you doing today, Arlene?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Usually I like to kind of hear from my guests about their journey and what they do. And how you got to where you are now.
Well, thanks for asking. I started off in life when I was about 15 and decided I wanted to be an attorney. And I did go to college and law school. Graduated from Emory and University of Kentucky College of Law. And I was an attorney. I'm still licensed in Colorado for over 30 years. I've had my own solo firm in family law and then going into commercial law when I lived in Ohio. Then I sold it when my son was 9. We moved out to Colorado, bought into a small boutique law firm that just did commercial law. And it was good for his health and good for both of us. And about 6 years before we sold the business, I got a diploma in coaching and mentoring, a diploma in transformational holistic counseling, and certification as a meditation facilitator. I didn't think I was going to stop practicing law at that time because I just felt like I was doing a lot of the negotiating settlements and marketing for the firm, and we had employees, and I had a teenage son. I thought I could be a better listener. I thought it could really help me in all areas of my life. It did. And I was just ready to be a coach and a mentor and a facilitator and a speaker full time and not do the law anymore. It's a pretty stressful way of life, and I've done it for a lot of years. And so I am a work life harmony and leadership coach for women, a transformational mentor for men. I also help people with meditation, and I also do soul readings. So, and I get out there and speak and do workshops and stuff like that. So I'm sort of living a different dream right now.
Mhm. How long have you been coaching at this point?
I got my coaching certification when in 2011, and I was mentoring before that, but I'm not working full time anymore, but I started with the business in 2013 when I still had the law firm.
Mhm. So yeah, that's definitely a quite a long journey to where you are now. Um, so you said something about work life. It was like work life balance. It's
Right.
like one of the things that you work with the women on.
Yeah, work life harmony and leadership for women.
Mhm. And how, like, what brought you to that kind of work? I guess maybe like having your own busy career.
Well, when I was working for other attorneys in Ohio. We moved up to Ohio after I graduated from University of Kentucky College of Law, and I was married then. And I started my own solo practice when I was 29 and found out I was pregnant. So all of our family was in Kentucky. All of my like colleagues and peers were in Kentucky or the lower part of Indiana and Ohio. So that was about 5 or 6 hours away. So I had to and there weren't coaches back then. There were psychologists, there were social workers, there were psychiatrists. And I really didn't need that. I tried some counseling, but it really wasn't what I needed. I needed someone to coach me through, building my own tribe and taking care of my son and running my own business and getting it off the ground. And so I did it from scratch. And I was just flying by the seat of my pants, falling down, picking myself up. And so I really have a lot of heartfelt empathy for women, period, who are working women, whether you have kids or not. It's, a lot still falls on our shoulders. If it's not with children, maybe it's with our parents if they're older. And I'm really passionate about it because I did it the hard way and it was fine. I lived, but there is a better way. It is nice to have help along the way.
Hmm. Yeah, I think well, even in like relationships, a lot of times women take on, like, in all relationships, I feel like women take on a lot more of the the burden of like keeping things moving, keeping things going, there's always a lot of like mental load of like, oh, this we need to make sure this happens, that like that kind of thing. Um, what are some like things that you help women through to like balance? I mean, yeah, balance it, find harmony in their lives because
Yeah, balance is in there. I mean, I used to have just balance, but as an attorney, it just felt like the scales of justice, and it doesn't feel like anything's actually perfectly balanced, because otherwise we're going into that perfectionist mode as women, and that is not helpful. That just drags you down. What I find is that most of my clients, and I don't know what your experience is with other women friends, is that we're not a total mess. Maybe some areas of our life, maybe the work area needs some tweaking, but the home is pretty good. It just, sometimes, maybe we're giving too much at work. Maybe we're more of a doormat or a people pleaser and we're taking on too big of a workload, but we're doing okay with our teenage kids at home. Or maybe the work is fine, but we have younger kids or teenage kids and I don't know, we're too dictatorial or whatever it is, and we're not really listening and having the kind of relationship that is going to be, lasting and ongoing. And so, it can be all sorts of things. Sometimes it's those two areas are fine, but you've got elderly parents and they're not even living in the same state you are, but you have to go back and forth a lot. There's a lot of things that can be going on in our lives where it just feels like I don't know how I'm going to sleep and take care of everything I need to do.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that most of the time, with women, there's something is going right in your life.
Oh, yeah.
But when something's going right, a lot of times something else is being neglected. You
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah, we can't be everything to everybody. And so there is the art of delegating stuff. And I do strongly believe in that. Um, it took me a while to do it as an attorney, but gosh, otherwise there's no way you can do a good job at everything.
Mhm.
So yeah, we really have to you learn how to delegate. We need to learn how to set priorities so that we get done what actually has to be done today, and the rest can take a little bit of a backstage. So yeah, there's a lot of yinging and yanging too, and I don't think we ever get there. It's we need to be really flexible and adaptable to have that more of that harmony in our life. And a lot of what I do with women is that we can have tons of challenges and obstacles or whatever is going on the outside. But if we're more calm and confident and centered and fully present on the inside, we have a different experience with it. And we're more able to move through it in a graceful way.
Yeah, I know for myself, like working with young children, I like at some point after now I just do nannying because it's like easier to do one-on-one rather than teaching. Uh, like I just kind of like what just the ability to stay centered throughout whatever's going on, like a kid's having a meltdown, like just myself being able to stay centered and be like, I will be like the rock for you while you're like having a hard time. I think helps the kid so much more to just be kind of like, you're gonna get through this. Like I trust in you. I'm here for you. And you know, and like it's not being like I think that's a thing like sometimes with parents like sometimes it's like like a parent will take on like feeling bad that like their kid is feeling bad and it's like sometimes they're just gonna feel bad like sometimes they're just gonna be upset and I'm just like I'm here for you and
Yeah.
I don't I'm not gonna like get upset like that you're upset, kind of thing. It's just like, we'll get through this. And I think it like when I got to that point, with children, I think it like just really helped to be like, just be like a solid foundation, for them to work through what they're needing kind of thing. Um, I don't know if that really had anything to do with it.
But it has a tremendous amount to do with it because a lot of women, myself included, when my son was younger, he's all grown up now. I didn't want him to fail at anything. And so a lot of the learning that we have is falling flat on your face and learning how to pick yourself up. And I actually did work with a coach and a mentor for a while, and they were like, you got to let that go. You got to let your son fail because otherwise he's going to be looking to you his whole life. And I did, and it was really hard. So a lot of women you're making an excellent point. We have to learn how to let go and let someone else, our children especially, or even your children that you were teaching, have that experience. And also, I think it's really important that you brought to the attention of how, some kids, they need that adult there to know that they can have a feeling and have a meltdown and know what the world is not going to fall apart. And it's really important as women that we give that to ourselves, not just to our kids, because there's going to be kids inside of ourselves that got stuck in time or they're dysfunctional teenagers or whatever, and they need our support and they need our love. And that's when we have reactions and feel like we can't do things. So if we know how to give it to our children, we know how to give it to ourselves. It's really, really important. So there was a reason you brought that, and it was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I have done like some inner child work, just, earlier you also mentioned like delegating, and I'm like, because of like my childhood and like kind of feeling like the adults in my life, like at least some of the adults in my life, um, we're struggling so much to like of how to like raise a child. And like I took on a lot of like responsibility of like the happiness of adults in my life, and like being like the perfect kid and, things like that. And like that was one of the things, was that I would just do everything for myself. And I've now been with my husband for over 10 years, and it took years for me to be able to like ask for help, to be able to like say like, I need you to like have like do this thing for me, or like, it's just like so much like just being like, oh no, I got it. I got it. And like I like, yeah. Just be like, thank you. I got this, kind of thing. And it's just like, no, it's you can definitely do that. Thank you.
And there's something really empowering when we get to that point where we can ask for help, because as women, sometimes it's really hard to do that. But especially if someone just volunteer. I mean, I do that now, and I'm so grateful, and I let them know how grateful I am that they're helping. I don't think men are that grateful. Maybe I don't mean that, but maybe they don't thank the person as much as we do, if someone actually helps us. But that is a hard situation if you have parents that are not, together, totally together, more, aligned and centered and grounded, and you took up the slack. And, that's another way I think we're going to bring into adulthood, that we have to sort of work with that and let that stuff go. So who knows what we all bring to the table that we need to let go of as adults,
Yeah.
as women with other responsibilities.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when you talk to people about like their, people's journeys, like their childhoods and things like that, it's like it's interesting how like young minds interpret what's happening around them, and like they try to meld to like figure out how to like navigate this, whatever it is that's happening. And sometimes like the same things, same family dynamics, a kid will interpret it in a different way. And like then as adults, they're dealing with different things that they're working through from, from their childhoods. Yeah, I find it interesting, like just how young minds interpret the adults and the what's happening around them,
Yeah.
and
For
how it
safety,
shapes them as adults.
yeah, and for safety and security, what I did was I was an amazing chameleon. I could morph myself to be okay in almost any situation. So you never knew who I was. Um, and so that's how I handled that kind of stress. So I think I just wanted to throw that in there. There's many ways that we made it through childhood and to adulthood that we maybe were bringing with us that we need to sort of let go of, that can help us be more, centered in our hearts and aligned and grounded and fully present and having strong boundaries that are appropriate and loving to do what we need to do, in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. like I said, like even in like similar things could be happening, but just like the way that we make it like okay is different. And that's, those are the things that like everyone brings into their adulthood that's like, oh yeah, I see that, that part of myself and that part of like you. And yeah, it's we're funny like that. People are funny like that, you know.
But they're all strengths that we can bring to ourselves and to our children, or your kids, or your as a nanny and as a teacher. We all have situations where those things that we experience, especially when we're aware of them and we're maybe choosing something new now, they're actually a gift that we went through that because we get it, we understand it, and then we can use it to, give back to others or pay it forward when we're older.
Yeah, definitely. I guess just generally like talking about fun.
Okay.
What are some things that you bring to your clients to help them to find a balance to have more fun in their lives? Because obviously, um, when we feel like there's so much that we have to do and like we feel like responsible for a lot, it's sometimes hard to like just take the time for yourself to like go and do something fun. Like, how do you help
Right.
people through that?
So we need to let go of the feeling that, first of all, it's a pile of horse manure that we've been served that says that it's selfish to take care of ourselves. So I just really, really, if we're not filling ourselves up with love and self-care, we're going to have all this stuff to give to other people from an empty cup. But I do ask people like, well, what makes your heart sing? What would you really love to do, that you're not doing now? And even if you have children, it's something you could do with them. If you like to go in the outdoors, maybe you do more outdoors things. If you want to learn an instrument, maybe you learn it with your kids. It doesn't matter. It's just like, okay, what really lights you up? Some of my friends love to garden or cook, and I love to look at beautiful gardens, and I love to eat great food. I'm a very, very ordinary cook, but I really appreciate their skills. I really like, well, that's awesome. I'll have some of that. So it's really important to really feel into our own selves what makes our heart sing, because if we don't have things in our life that give that to us, that fill our cups up with love, and we're taking care of ourselves, even if it's a mani-pedi, who cares? If that helps you, make time for it, because then you're going to have more energy where you really need to work and plow through and get other things done.
Mhm. Well, and I people like think of these things as being selfish, but like how much better is it like when you are with people that are like lit up? Like that's the thing, like when it actually like I think just like magnifies like everything around us and all the people that we touch and interact with when we are showing up in a way where we're like I'm really happy and excited and like talking to people when they're like, oh, I learned this new thing and I'm really excited about it. It's just like it makes like everything better, and if everyone shows up in the world like that, like how much better is everything going to be? Like how much smoother is everything going to work? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And, we're not helping the people that we love if we're giving and giving and giving, and then we get frustrated and angry because people aren't giving much back. We're not going to be very pleasant to be around. So we might as well give some stuff back to ourselves. We're going to be a lot more joyful, like you just shared, and a lot more fun to be around, because we're going to be lifting people up instead of dragging them down because we thought we were being selfish by doing anything for ourselves. It just
Hmm.
doesn't make any sense when you sort of play with it like we are at all.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, how many like, people probably have stories about like of a parent like they get the energy that their parents resentful of them as a child, it's like how much different would someone's experience be if the parent didn't become this like martyr, to like being a parent and went and did things that they love, Yeah.
It can really mess up a kid, if because you can feel that energy, even if you don't know how to define it. And it's really different if you have parents that support you, even if every now and then they get a fur ball and they say something, that might stick with you for later. it's very difficult as a child or even a young teenager or a young adult to deal with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think it is becomes something that just gets carried with someone for the rest of their lives. Like,
Well, hopefully they can find a way to let stuff go. And I do help people with that. I'm not a counselor. If they go into counseling mode, it says I can refer you to somebody. But if you're the coaches, we deal with what's going on here now and where we'd like to be in the future, like with our goals and focuses. So
mhm.
coaching and mentoring are two ways that we can actually deal with stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've done coaching a couple of times, and like it was like really like surprising like how just kind of dealing with things like here and now. And I've done therapy too. So but like sometimes just dealing with like things here and now and how you react to them, can like really make a difference in how you show up and how you see things. It's just
Yeah.
like because you can kind of like look at it from a different angle, and like, yeah, it just I like how coaching can kind of just like be like, well, what about looking at like this, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's really cool because, lots of times we're just helping people to be aware. If we're not aware of something, we can't deal with it. If we are aware, then we can. And, I can ask in the quote powerful questions, or I can reflect back or share an intuition. I'm always handing it back to the client. But when you have those kind of conversations and you're in this like really nice judgment-free open zone, where there is whatever you share is fine. And I'm not going to judge you, or I'm sure that's the experience you had, someone that was coached. A lot can come out and a lot can move forward and be let go. And yeah, I've been coached a lot because I always, I think it's important as coaches to experience it, what we're doing, in order to learn to grow more as a coach. So it's a wonderful thing. I love having my peers coach me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, I know for myself, like, if I didn't have a coach at one point, like this podcast wouldn't exist if I didn't have a coach. So,
Cool.
yeah, so I'm like very like pro like getting coaching when you need that, kind of thing. Um, and I like that there's so many like ways to like ways to coach people. Like there's so many, you know, focus that different coaches have, um, and how like the way like what they can help you with, kind of thing.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we need to specialize. There's too much, I feel, that it's just like being an attorney. I had two different areas of expertise. I would have been crazy to be a general practitioner. How can you possibly do that and keep up with everything? If you're going to really be of service, it feels like specializing and just helping that kind of group that you're good with is a good thing.
yeah. Yeah, I think generally in a lot of fields, you have to be able to like narrow in on something, because you can't be like an expert in like everything. Like literally, it's like I'm a scientist and like I know all science. It's like, no, you can't, like that's impossible.
No, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is good to have those people that this is your area of expertise because you hear everything in that area of expertise and you're able to be a better service, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. I like to ask my guests, how do you define fun?
How do I define fun? Does it matter if it has a definition? That's interesting. I guess having fun for me is just doing things that I enjoy. I love living in Colorado because I'm in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains, the mountains you can see everywhere. There's plenty of trails. It's a pretty outdoorsy kind of state. That's fun to me. But it's fun hanging around with friends too, or I don't know, just to me, coaching and mentoring and facilitating classes is the most fun because you're helping people to evolve and grow. So I guess my work is now my fun. I don't can't really say that as much as when I was an attorney, although I did a lot of the marketing and we did a lot of traveling with that, and that was fun. So yeah, I don't know if fun has a definition, but I just feel like if it's something that lights you up and your heart's singing, then that goes into the fun category.
Yeah, definitely. I also like to ask what people's play personalities are. According to the Institute of Play, there's 8 play personalities.
Really?
Yeah.
I have no idea what my play personality is. I guess when I'm in the play personality, maybe I'm more serious if I'm coaching or mentoring somebody, or especially mentoring they're having a really hard time. Maybe they're in a lot of anxiety and stress. To be laughing and playing would not be appropriate,
Mhm.
or they're really upset because their kids did something or something happened at work. It's not appropriate. I've got to match and mirror them and be there fully present. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty disturbing for them. So I guess maybe I'm more lighthearted if I'm in that play mode and I'm letting everything else go when I'm there. I think that's another thing we need to do as women, men too. If we're out there, we need to be able to say, okay, I did this work today, job well done. I'm acknowledging and celebrating that. It's going on the shelf right now because I'm going to go do something for me or with other people that I enjoy doing things with.
Mhm. Yeah. You mentioned that you like to hike. So that is one of the play personalities, is like the kinesthetic, if you like to
Oh
move your
yeah.
body. There's also like if you're a joker, if you enjoy exploring, being an artist, um, competitor, storyteller, collector, and director. Um, yeah, I don't know if any of those like sound
Well,
like you.
I did paint for quite a while, and I do have some of those on my wall. I went through a divorce, and I was already a really good artist, and I would go to his place. He had a little studio once a week and paint, and then I ended up doing a bunch of painting on my own. I'm not doing it now. It's sort of like ran its course with me, but it was very, very therapeutic just to have that artistic bent to get out there. When
Mhm.
I was up to for like from the first to the 12th grade, I took piano lessons. Can't say I'm that great at it, but it was fun. I really enjoyed learning a musical instrument, and I learned to play the guitar. Um, I haven't done that in years either. When I was and I played with other people when I was in college. So yeah, I do love things that are kinesthetic, and there is something invigorating about not just walking on a trail down here, but actually driving up and doing some hiking when you're going uphill,
Mhm.
because it's strenuous and you just have to forget everything else. So yeah, I think there's a lot of those different things in all of us, that just can pop out at any moment.
Yeah, kind of situational sometimes where you're like, oh yeah, like this like maybe you'll be with someone and you'll like be like, hey, let's do this. And you're like, okay. Like
I do love people that are storytellers, and I would love to develop more of that within myself, because there's something really magical about someone. I had a friend who lives in North Carolina, and he has this beautiful Southern drawl. I love to listen to him talk. He talks. I can't quite even do it, even though I grew up in Kentucky, but he is an amazing storyteller. And you love to be in his presence because he'll go into one of his stories. Something really magical about that.
well, yeah, like every time like you go to like a party or something like that and like you meet someone who's like a really great storyteller, it's always something that I really have always envied. And I wish that I was better at that. You know? It's like I'm like, oh, I love it. Like, yeah. So I get that. Um, how nice it is to be around someone that's like really great at telling stories. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we all have our gifts though, and his gift is really amazing with that. It just comes naturally to him. I love, like, I have a blog on my website, and I don't know how many people have actually read all the articles that are on my blog, but I love to write. To me, that's relaxing, especially if I'm in the right mindset, not if I'm all looking at everything I have to do today. But there is something really, to me, that's just, I love that form of creativity.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, every once in a while, like I'll go and like try to write something. I wrote like a short film once. We haven't recorded made the short film, but like I wrote a little, a script for it. Every once in a while it's just like get ideas and I'm like, oh, I wonder like, how this would play out kind of thing. But yeah. What is like one of your like the best vacations you've ever taken?
Well, I travel because I have friends in Australia, so I go there at least once a year. And to me, it's just like coming home to my second family. But I did once, I took a cruise around South America, and we stopped at all these different ports and got to see penguins at the bottom of South America, and got to go, stop and visit countries where Spanish was a language, and it's just really cool. It's like I got to see a whole bunch of the world that I had never seen, and I do enjoy that. But I guess the best thing I ever did, I'm just remembering now, when I was 19 years old, my parents let me go on this 6 week trip through Europe. I was on a bus with kids my age, and the tour guide was only 27. He was a cutie. And we had a bus driver that was German, older guy that didn't speak any English, but we all befriended him. And we went through Europe for 6 weeks, and we stayed at like student hostels, and we ate great food, and we got to see museums and go to nightclubs because I think I was 19 and you could go to them at 18 in Europe. And so it was like one of the best experiences of my life. And I made some friends that, stuck with me for quite a long time.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. Like that sounds like kind of a dream right there. I like to like be able to like travel through Europe with like your peers, for 6 weeks. Yeah, that sounds amazing. Um, so yeah, it sounds like you're also an explorer. You like to explore.
Yeah, there's something wonderful about, touching into other cultures. And I remember that when we were in France, um, it wasn't that welcoming of a city when we were in Paris, but we went to the countryside and we couldn't I couldn't speak French. I took some high school French, but that wasn't anything. And they couldn't speak English the way they did in the big cities, but we managed with sign language to talk to each other. And it was so cool. And the people were just so relaxed and generous. And a couple of people knew some phrases to English, to sort of connect. And that happened in Germany too. I went to it was before the Berlin Wall came down, and we went to the communist side, and we were at some bar with these big long tables and all these beer mugs because of course you get drink when you're 18 there. Couldn't speak a word of the language, but we were just laughing and having a good time with these people that we would never see again. So yeah, there's a lot of beautiful memories of people when we didn't know each other's language, but it was still a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, I love when like it's such like a basic like human connection of like you can't even like really like communicate with someone, but you just like still find a connection. I love when hear about that kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, I think we
Um,
did some sign language. It wasn't totally broken, but yeah, it was like those were like the two of the really cool memories of that trip.
yeah, sounds great. And then you said you also went to like Antarctica?
Well, on the cruise, we went all the way down from the beginning of South America. I forget, we start somewhere in California. They took a plane down. I forget where we got in the boat, but yeah, we went to the place where there's at the bottom of South America there were penguins, and went on this island that was just a penguin island.
Oh,
And it was really interesting, and then, far parts that were further north were warm, and so we got all different kind of climates, and yeah, it was really fun to go on an island that was just filled with penguins.
yeah. I mean, it sounds cute. It sounds great. Like, penguins are just cute. Look, why wouldn't you
Yes,
want to
but
see a bunch of penguins?
there was poop everywhere. I mean, it was
Oh, sure. That makes sense.
that was a little bit of a shock. I'm like, oh my God, there's penguin poop everywhere. So you learn something wherever you go.
Yeah. I mean, they gotta go somewhere,
They
right? They
gotta
gotta
go
make an
somewhere. They have their own own island. There really aren't humans going to go around and scoop it all up. But
Yeah, yeah. Uh, yeah. I mean, I guess that it makes sense. Like maybe like sometimes you like see like this area where you'll have like a nest somewhere. And like underneath that nest, they'll just be like a pile of poop. Yeah, that makes sense. You know? Yeah. That's yeah.
Part of life.
Um, what makes you feel special?
I don't know if I sort of wanted to drop that feeling that I have to be special, because I think sometimes humans um put too much stuff in that. But I guess when I feel special is that if someone just extends in a generous, kind way, if I need some help and someone gets on the phone with me, or I'm somewhere and someone gives me directions before our cell phones did all of that, or it's just a nice kind of kind interaction moment, even if you don't know them or you never see them again. There's something that's really lovely about those moments. And I think that if we're staring at our phones all the time, we can't do it. And so I don't.
Mhm.
I'm not the youngest generation. Lots of times I don't even have my phone, the ringer on, or the little dinger thing on that someone's texted me, or I'll be looking at the darn thing all the time. So those kind of moments like that, I don't know if I feel special, but it's just heartwarming, and there's something lovely about that. And I think it's really an important part of, being here on the planet.
Yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, I think like, well, like for example, you were talking about like people like that you don't speak the same language. I remember being in Japan and us getting lost. My friend and I got lost. And we are just like tr like no one spoke English and we're just like try and like this person went out of their way, like walked down the street like with us to help us find where we needed to go.
Oh,
And I was just like, oh my God, I love people so much. So, sometimes and you're just like, when someone like is willing to like put in that effort for like a complete stranger, it's just
yeah.
like, it makes you feel so like connected and like the world is this beautiful place, and like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw a clip on Japan that's like one of the safest places in the year, and how kids is like 5 years old, they can get on trains and they have special backpacks and clothes they wear so people look out for them and help them. And I'm like, wow, that is really amazing. We need to learn something from the Japanese.
I think there's a lot to learn from the Japanese. Like they have a really amazing culture, like connection, like yeah, they look out for each other. There's things like I don't know, like where they have like these ideas about like purpose and connection and like I think it's one of the most interesting cultures, like and like beautiful, not that they don't have problems, obviously every culture has
Yeah. Yeah.
problems, but like whenever I hear like learn something about the Japanese, I'm just like wow, like and like some of their concepts that come like I've learned about like oh, why am I blanking on what it's called right now? Yeah, I can't think of what the name of it is. Like it was just like this term that was just about like it's like this basically like finding like your like deep purpose kind of thing, and it's just like I feel like it's just something that's really needed in the United States, So many people are just kind of like floundering, like
Yeah.
untethered in the United States. So
There's a lot of things that could change in our country, but yeah. And it's really cool because they're you can go and buy a flat for like nothing and fix it up and live there if you want. So I like to watch those little videos too about people that go over there and fix up a flat. Maybe they're renting it out and then they find one to live in, and it's very inexpensive because they don't have a very big younger population, and people are just there's like all these empty flats.
yeah, well, yeah, there's like definitely a few countries that like the population is like aging so much that they're like they're really wanting to like get people in to like, stimulate the, economy and like, to like kind of get things moving because, I know like in like Italy, like there's all these like, you know, super cheap places that you can fix up also. just because like it is an aging population. A lot of like these first world um countries have had like lower birth rates and um age, people are living longer. So yeah.
Yeah.
Um, are you a cat or a dog person?
Well, I grew up with a dog and I was a dog person. And it was my first and only dog. I got her when I was 10 and my brother was 8. My other younger brother wasn't born yet, and she was still alive when I went away my freshman year in college. My mother had to put her down because she grew these big tumors on the back of her legs. Anyway, that was breaking. But now I'm more of a cat person because cats are just like, oh, well, you can live with them and they do their own thing, but you don't
Mhm.
have to babysit them. They're not like a kid.
Yeah.
So I do like both of them. And if I go visit my friends that have dogs, I do enjoy the dogs, but I don't want a dog now. I'd rather have a cat. So I like them both, but they're very, very different personalities.
Yes. A dog like looks at you like you're the sun, which is like so beautiful and endearing, Like you're just like, oh my God, the love that's coming out of your eyes. It's just like I love that. But a cat is more like a roommate sometimes, but they're so easy. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they both have good things.
They do. They do. Although it's funny, like sometimes you'll like watch, I like to watch cat and dog videos. And like every once in a while, like you have this cat that's like is more like a dog, and you're like, wow, that cat is so loving.
I know that the people that can walk their cats on leashes is like, how do you do that? That makes no sense to me. And I've watched some videos like that. I'm like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I love animals. They
Me
just,
too. Me too. Animals are beautiful.
they are. Um, if you could travel, what mode of transportation would you like? If you could get anywhere, any mode of transportation, how would you go?
Well, I would like to do it the way Star Trek does it, where they can just disintegrate the cells and you can be in the other place and you don't have to go through the airport. If you want to know my dream way of doing it and not destroy your body or anything, that would be my magic fairy dust way of doing it. But yeah, because I travel, and when I travel to Australia, it's like 3 planes and waiting at airports and finding showers to take so you feel okay. And so I'm used to it, but the Star Trek way would be awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, I always say if I had any magical power, it would be teleportation. If I never had to ride an airplane again, I would be very happy.
Our car, just to snap your fingers and be somewhere, that would be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like cars, yes and no.
Yeah, cars.
I like being able to see like what's like sometimes like taking a nice quiet drive and like seeing the scenery is nice. It's more of like driving hours and hours and you're like your body's just like, oh, I'm so tired.
Yeah, both ways have good points.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, what's your favorite type of ice cream?
My favorite type of ice cream. I mean, we have this ice cream shop in Longmont called Sweet Cow, and it's all homemade from like cream. I don't even think there's any milk in there. And the chocolate is just like to die for. And I do like other kinds of ice cream, like, with the chocolate chip cinnamon, but I always get that one because I always keep on coming back to it because the others are good, but there's nothing like really good total cream ice cream. And this place makes it. So I would say that would be my favorite.
Nice. Yeah. Ugh, yeah, there's something about like a really great ice cream shop. You like go in and like you buy your scoop. It, I it never like no ice cream that you can have in your own freezer like ever does it justice. I
I
feel
know,
like.
especially when it's nice and you can sit outside and they have like benches and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a really nice way to spend some time with some friends or family.
Mhm. Yeah. What's your favorite season?
Hmm. Well, it's not winter, although I used to ski and I did do like different parts of winter. I guess I like late spring and early fall. I do love summer. I do love hot weather. I tend to be a small person who gets cold easy.
Mm.
But it can be too hot. So I do love right now we're in spring in Colorado and the trees, all the dogwood trees are blooming. That we've had a lot of rain. It's unusual how much we've had it. And it's so beautiful. And but in the fall, I kind of miss that because we don't get that here. You know, if you're in like more the South and the Midwest, all the colors in the trees, and we mostly just get yellow. So yeah, I think that late spring, early fall is like a combo that I really like.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. If you have like a day that you could do like just anything to like take like do self-care, what would be on your agenda?
Ah, well, I'd probably do yoga or go to a steam room and I'd get a massage and I would go up probably to the mountains with a couple of friends when the weather was nice and have a hike that was a little bit strenuous, but wasn't going to knock us all out and just be around, you know, all that beauty. I love that kind of stuff. And I do love to travel and see different things. That's always a fun day when you're just like it. You can, you know, you go to a city and you've never, you know, you don't know it very well, and you see the museums and you can walk around and poke your nose in different restaurants and try new food. But yeah, I do really love just getting out in nature.
Yeah, definitely. Earlier you said that you're like a simple cook. You're not like a really big cook. Is there any like dish that you make that you're like, I make this well, like, and like you make it for your friends?
I do because I mean, my mother gave it to me. It's this like noodle kugel, and it has like sweet cream, sour cream, sugar, butter, noodles. I mean, you couldn't like it's a heart attack. But you bake it, and it's like to die for. So my son is always asking that for me. I'm like, you have to take this home. I cannot take this home with me. It's like 50,000 calories per bite. It tastes delicious. My body doesn't do so well with it anymore, but I do make that well.
That sounds like such a southern food.
I grew up in Kentucky and I did live in Atlanta, Georgia when I was in college. And I do love the South. I love the way they talk.
Yeah. Um, I've never been to the South, but it is like fun to like hear like there's so many different accents in the United States. It's like fun to hear people talk from wherever they're from. Um, I'm I'm from I'm from the Northwest, like born and raised, and like obviously we have accents as much as we want to pretend that we don't have accents. People are like, "Oh, we don't have an accent." It's like, yes, we do have an accent. Of course we do. But it's like it's such a boring accent. So it's like fun. I love hearing like people from other places talk, and like it's actually like it's like wow, it's exciting to hear you talk.
From relatives from Boston. I do love that accent. It's very special and it's different. And I do have friends from the South. And well, if you never ever have a chance to go to Tennessee, I went to Elvis Presley's land or whatever it is. I thought it was going to be the most boring thing. I was like in tears. It was really, really cool. And that was like a pleasant surprise. You just never know what you're going to get when you travel.
Nice. Yeah. I definitely would check that out. And I've always wanted to go to Dollywood.
Yeah, I haven't been there yet, but
I
I'm
love
sure.
Dolly Parton.
I've seen her in concert. I've heard her sing though, and she is amazing. So yeah,
I'm
very
envious of that. Yeah. I'm envious of like, the concerts that some people have been had the pleasure of seeing that I will never get to see. Like, I know she still like performs some, but like,
yeah.
unfortunately she's getting up in age and it's like I
Oh,
probably will never see her perform. So um hey, what is a musician that you wish you had been able to see live that you never got to see live?
um, I don't know. I really don't know because I got to see John Denver when he was alive twice.
Mm.
He came to Louisville, Kentucky twice, sold out this huge thing. I don't know off the top of my because I even saw Elvis Presley when he was like in his he came to Louisville when I was like was I forget when it was, but that's when it was heavier, a
Mm.
bigger guy. So I've seen a lot of really cool people in concert. I've even seen the Rolling Stones in concert. Um, Off the top of my head, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question. I'm sure someone told me they would. Oh, I would have loved to see that they're not all together now. I would have loved to see Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. They were really big when I was growing up. I love kind of folk music. And it would have been, yeah, that would have been really cool to see all of them together. And Neil Young's still there, and I love his songs, but I'm dating myself. But I do love, there is something really wonderful about folk music. And that would have been cool. And who's Nicole Kidman married to?
Keith Urban.
Yeah, I saw him on a talk show and he was playing some guitar stuff. I think, he's alive and he's still touring. He's amazing. That would be really cool to see him.
Yeah. And he seems like a nice guy too. So it's like
He seems like a wonderful guy from all the different interviews I've seen him do. Really, and he's so grateful to be sober and so grateful to have that really loving relationship that he has, that really supportive thing. And yeah, I actually saw an interview that he did. I forget who was interviewing him, but he had his guitar there and he was playing some songs and it was just lovely.
that's great. I know you've done a lot of travel. I know we've talked about travel a lot because I love to travel. So I just thought it was like picking people's brains. Like, what do you like? What is like someplace that you haven't been that you're like, you really want to go someday?
Yeah, I think it'd be really cool to go to Dublin, Ireland, and go around Ireland. It just seems like a beautiful country from all the videos that I've seen and older architecture. So that would be one place I'd like to go to. Um, that's for sure. And I think I'd like to go to Iceland or Greenland. It's like it's cold, but it's really, it just seems like a really quaint place to go to. I have been to I have been to Jerusalem and Turkey and some of those places in the Middle East. I've never been to Egypt. So I don't know. There's so many places in the world to go and see. But those are a few that I think would be really cool.
Have you ever seen the Northern Lights or
No.
what's it in the South? Because I know you go to Australia. I can't remember what it's called in the South. Because it's Aurora Borealis. I don't know what the Southern version is.
Yeah, you have to be higher up in Australia than when I go to. It's a big country. It's bigger, a little bit bigger than the US.
Hmm.
So I forget where they get those kind of skies, but Australian sky is really interesting. They have the Southern Cross. It's just it feels it's totally different than our sky. So and all their birds are different. They make all these different kind of sounds. All the noises are different. It feels really different to be there. So
Hmm.
that's the cool things about traveling. Where you have the totally different foliage and trees and birds and animals, and you can go on the golf courses in Australia, and you'll have a bunch of kangaroos bouncing around, and yeah, it's an interesting place.
Yeah. Australia always freaks me out because there's so many like things that you're like are dangerous. Like the
I
animal.
talked to my friends about that. I've gone there for years. I've never come in contact with a dangerous spider or a snake. I mean, yeah, if you're walking out in the bush, you wear socks and tennis shoes, or they call them runners, but you don't do stupid things like that. But I think that they just exaggerate all that stuff in the media. Maybe they don't want people to come and visit. I don't know. But I have
Stay
never
away.
had an encounter.
That's good because like seriously, like there's like I like see these videos or like the huge like huntsman spider. Is that what they're
Yes, one of
called?
my friends took a picture of one on her wall. She let it stay there because I guess they're really not dangerous.
I heard they're not dangerous, but still just like freaky. You're just like,
But it got under her covers and into her underwear, and she woke up and she threw it across the floor and it died. I'm like, I love you. You're crazy.
crazy. Oh my
That
goodness.
story. She told me that story because they're not dangerous at all, but she did take a picture of it on her wall and it was big. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, I don't know. Aussies are
You're
a
like,
little bit some of them.
yeah,
They're
get out of my house.
So that was interesting when she told me my story, my reaction. I'm like, oh my God, you are a different breed than me.
I mean, maybe you grow up in a place where spiders get that big. You have to be a different breed. You become a different breed.
Well, they have cockroaches that are this big that I'm not exaggerating. When I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, they have very big bugs.
Oh man. Yeah, I am a wuss. Like everything is small here because it's cold. So I'm just like, yeah, it's like, oh, we got a spider this big, like yeah. Um we're getting to our 1 hour
I
mark.
never thought you'd hear that story about a spider. I probably shouldn't have told that story, but anyway, it's true.
No, I think it's um hilarious, and I'm glad you told that story. I mean, I it doesn't mean I'm not ever going to go to Australia, but I just am like, what is this crazy place?
It has big cities and it has country and it has places to hike. It's really, in all honesty, it's an amazing country. In the middle of the country where it's really, really hot, it gets up to 122. They dig caves in the ground and they have a whole like cities like underground where people live and they have these little things that come out that whirl around so there's air that circulates in them. There's some really cool videos on that and they're absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
So it's a really interesting, continent. And of course they have the Aboriginal people there. They've sort of gotten the same treatment as the Indians, but still some very beautiful
Yeah.
artwork and stuff like that. So forget about
Unfortunately, every place that white
like,
people came, we treated
what?
every place that white people came, we treated the natives really terribly,
Oh, it
unfortunately.
breaks my heart.
I know, I know. I mean, I obviously we can't change the past, but we can work towards a better future. So, yeah. Um, thank you so much for being on today. Where can the audience find you?
My website is Jewel Consultancy, Jewel, like the diamond, consultancy.com. My full name is Arlene, Arlene Cohen, Cohen Miller. I think I'm the only one out there. If you type that name in Google, you'll find me on LinkedIn and Instagram and all those different fun places. And that's really it. And so my website is not one of those places you can't find my phone number or my email address. Like those drive me crazy. Why do people do that? So yeah, you can if you want to connect with me, you can do it like that.
Yeah, yeah. When it's like, oh, you can only, get in touch with people like through, social media or something like that. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah.
why are you I don't understand it. Anyway, I'm not like that. You will find I have a lot of great blogs on there. I have two whole sets of videos, one about leadership skills and one about just being in that space of calm assurance. And I have, if you go to YouTube under Arlene Cohen Miller, there's lots of different videos like that as well too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad we finally got to connect.
Me too.
Okay, well, take good care.
Thanks, you too.
Bye bye.